So in my case, the course was a transformational experience. That transformation made it so that I could go out and do whatever I wanted in life, have whatever I want, become whatever I want. And I did that. And imagine, you go into a depression because it's not because you're lacking, you have too much, or you have. And I actually got in on the plane and went to the United States to take my own life.
My next guest is a former race car driver and big wave surfer. After achieving everything he wanted in life, he returned to his hometown to commit suicide. At that moment, something happened that changed the course of his life. His name is Mike McGinnis, and he's the author of the book, The Essential Revolution. Stay with us and enjoy this conversation.
I have to tell you something. You're going to think I'm crazy. And I said, tell me. And she says, she didn't want to tell me. She finally tells me, you need to go to Costa Rica. And I'm like, what's Costa Rica? I thought, I guess, is it a restaurant or something? What are you talking about? So I didn't know what it was. I never heard of it, I didn't do a lot of school, stuff. And she's, no, it's a country. And I go, why would I want to go there? And this is way before internet or anything like that. So, I didn't know. And I'm like, you're crazy, and I just kind of forgot about it. And then one day I was over surfing and just on the other side of the border, K-38, and there's guy gets out of the water. He was just ripping it out there. And I go, dude, you're ripping it, man. He's like, yeah, I lived in Costa Rica for a year. I got really good at surfing. I'm like, oh, Costa Rica's got waves? He's like, has it got waves? Yeah. So I went, back in those days, you would buy a book and then the book would tell you about a country. And that's what I did. And I had this dream to go to Costa Rica. And, there was an inner voice inside of me. We'll call it programming. Mainly from the way a person that when I was growing up would tell me how stupid I was, and you're a stupid Mexican, you'll never be anything in this world, and blah blah blah. And he would repeat this over and over. He was an older person in my life and in the home, not my father, and I believed that those words, and at the time I still believe that, and I'm like, oh, I would really like to go there, but I'm a nobody. I'll never be able to do anything. And I actually, that little tape ran, and then but the dream was there, the dream to move to this place and, basically live off the ocean and fish and surf all the time. And I never thought I would, really go. And yeah, I was doing kind of well. And the other thing I was doing, I also had a job. I also bought and sold Harley Davidson motorcycles right when it started to boom. This is around 1989. I started going all over the United States and buying and bringing them back. Plus, I had this good job I'd wear a suit and it was just weird. It was this crazy life. And then I had all these girls, and I said, man, I sure want to go there, but I kind of forgot about that. And then one day, one of the other girls said, you need to go to this course. And I said, what course? And she told me the name of it. And I'm like, what is it? And she's, oh, it's a weekend. You go to this thing and you still go home at night, but it'll help you in your life. And I said, that sounds like this thing my dad did a long time ago. And she says, yeah, they just changed the name. And I'm like, okay. I said, maybe I'll just go. And hell, I can afford the $350 at the time or whatever. And I went, and man, I got my life back in 3 days. This thing helped me deprogram the way that I spoke to myself and the things that I was saying that were all lies, and helped me speak the truth that I chose. And from there, I was able, literally, the minute I walked out of that thing on Sunday, I called first of all, I fixed all my problems with my mom, all my blaming that I had with her, all of it just clean. And then and some other people too. And of course, full forgiveness to the guy that said all those things that was in my house for several years when I was like, I think 12, 13, 14, something like that. And full beyond forgiveness. Like if I could have called him and said, hey, I'm sorry for blaming you my whole life. I've messed up my life because of this, but it led me to this transformation. And then I realized I could do anything that I wanted, period. And then I called a buddy and I said, dude, let's go to let's go to Costa Rica. He's like, why? I go, because there's waves there. He's like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah. And we got on a plane and we went, and I literally didn't, that was it. I didn't leave. I bought my first place on the beach there. There's these little cabins, and I stayed, and that was it. And I mean, I came back and took care of what I had to take care of, and made everything happen, and I was gone, man, just like that. And yeah, 32 years or whatever it is now later, 31 years later, yeah, here I am, and living the dream that I wanted to do. And that thing, that course was, I have to give it to that. At that time, that was my first transformational experience.
What was this course that you made?
It was called Landmark Forum, and I highly recommend it. And I'll say I haven't been in there in that building for 30 something years, and I'm still today saying that it was at that time in my life the number one most powerful transformational experience, and where I am today, it definitely couldn't have happened without that. For me, my personal, and we could say that about anything that happened before, I wouldn't
Mm.
be today. But I really do appreciate what I learned there, and yeah, it was amazing.
Do you attribute your change, your personal change, into forgiving your parents or the people around you? Start blaming you, start like putting the responsibility on others and saying like, I'm full of shit, I have to take responsibility of my life. What exactly was
Yes,
that?
that was the actual crux of the main thing, is for us to move ourselves out of victimhood, the victimhood mindset, which, by the way, right now is rampant in the world,
Mm. Yeah.
rampant. Um, and all by design, I would say. Well, I should, in a sense, by design, but we could talk about that later. But um, yeah, it was going beyond forgiveness, right? Because you don't have to forgive when you realize that whatever the person did, or person, universe, world, whatever happened, first of all, the actor was doing exactly the best that they could with what they had at the moment, period. And people say, oh,
Mm.
that's impossible. Well, if you stay in that mindset, then you're going to stay in the victim mindset. But if you realize that, hey, no, it's true. And I would ask that person to say that, have you ever done something that later on you say, wow, I'm not going to do that anymore to somebody? Have you ever done something that, I don't want to say regret, but maybe regret, or that you're just not going to do that anymore? You've treated somebody in a certain way. And every one of us, if we're really honest, we're going to say, yeah, okay. But that guy did this and it was really, really bad. I don't care. If it's your choice, it's your perception. How are you going to perceive what happened? So what happened was, of course, it was like I actually went and apologized to the people who allowed things to happen in my life, actually were the actors in some cases. Apologized, not forgave. Forgiveness is that, forgiveness
Mm.
means like I'm sitting up here and I forgive you. No, it's about me going, wow, I'm sorry for blaming you. I realize that you were doing the best that you could with what you had at the time. And thank you. So it's really Ho'oponopono if you think about it, right? You've heard of it, right? I'm sorry. Please
Mm.
forgive me. Forgive me for blaming you. Thank you. Thank you for this incredible opportunity for me to grow.
Mm.
And I love you. And the I love you comes from the internal I love you, that is the truth at our core, that we all love each other. We can't see that right now because we've been programmed to believe that we don't. But if you look at a baby
Mm.
when they come out, they love everything and everybody. That's
Yeah.
us. And it just doesn't seem that way, but it's the truth. It is the core truth, period. This I know.
Forgiving, apologizing, love, gratitude. Is this
There
the
you go.
basis of personal transformation? How do you see it?
It's the first step. It's the first big, giant, massive step, because we have to clean up. You see, for me to go out and blame and to walk around going, I blame it. Okay, first of all, there's only one person I'm hurting. It's me. And in order for me to clean that up, there's like, if you go and you apologize to the actor of that um, situation, you're doing something that is, what do we call it? It's like out of character. It's not the norm for you to go and apologize, right?
Mm.
So in a sense, it's like we carry this, like, let's just imagine there's this thing happens and I make a decision. That's bad. He was wrong. He hurt me, or she
Mm.
hurt, whatever it is. And then there's almost like a little chip that goes in, like a memory chip in my mind that made that decision, and it stays there. And this counterintuitive action of apologizing to the actor that did that thing, for me, literally zaps that thing away. So the apology is the most, for me, it's the most important thing. And in book, if you read the book, you'll notice that our hero Dimitri insists that the people that follow him and that are starting to work with him do the same. And so, yeah, that's first step, literally just the first step, and it's a big one. Imagine the
Yeah.
weight off your shoulders when you've let go of all that crap, all that blaming, and you start to perceive the world in a different way. Like, wow, that had to happen for me to be here today. Because if you sit here and you say, and you're pissed off about what happened, that means you hate your life. That means if you have children, that means you don't want those children to be there. What do you mean, Mike? Well, because that had to happen like it did for you to have those kids right now, or for you to have the job that you have, or whatever it is. And then there's some people that are living in a horrible, dire situation. And I would still say, find the gratitude in the last breath that you took. You know, in the last bit of food that you found in the dumpster. It doesn't matter if you choose to shift your perception, then you will be liberated. If not, then you will stay where you are, and it is your choice. It is individual. Nobody's going to do this for you.
With everybody that I'm talking to, even though I can say I have a really beautiful childhood, most of my friends and everybody that I know did as well. Everybody's carrying this unworthiness, this lack of self-esteem, all these voices saying like, no, you cannot be this, you cannot do this. And it goes somehow to our parents. And exactly what you said, it's like they did with us the best they could with what they knew at that moment, you know.
That's right.
So what is the biggest challenge that you see that the people are facing right now on a personal level, not on a global level as a whole society, but on a personal level? What do you think is the biggest challenge that we're facing right now to start creating the life that we want to create for ourselves?
Programming. And that programming most usually starts with, oh, boo-hoo, this is what happened. And I don't mean to be insensitive. I know that there are atrocities. And I've
Mm.
spoken, and I know people who have had things happen to them that I I can't even mention. I mean, it's beyond
Mm.
anything. And I've seen them have full-blown awakenings from that.
Yeah.
So the journey is individual. It has to start here first. And those the what those people are invited to do, especially if if they're reading my book, or if they're stepping onto the Camino Rojo, we call it, like the red path, the path to awakening. Like, they make a choice. Okay, I'm going to do this, and I would say usually that comes from something that is so, in a lot of times, a really harsh situation, like hitting a bottom is what Dimitri in the book calls it.
Mm.
And so when people hit that bottom, and it could be from addiction, abuse of an addictive substance, abuse of addiction to sex, to shopping, to doing, to this. It's when you get to that point, you're like, I'm not going to do this anymore, and you say to yourself, I'm done.
Mm.
And a lot of people, when that happens, they hit that bottom. Something like you had mentioned when we were talking earlier about a friend who had a near-death experience. He literally died. I mean, hell, that's a big ass bottom,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're going through a death, so
Mm.
we invite people to die before you die. Like, die that death now. Know that every single moment you're a new. You can recreate your life all the time. You're just another version. There's millions of versions of you that are just waiting for you to step into. And how to do that? Well, everybody's different. And again, it's when you say basta, enough, and then you look for answers. You look for help. The book, The Power of Now, for me, that was my second transformational experience. Changed my life forever. And I highly recommend something like that. Because once you realize that there's a voice that's speaking in here that's not your own, and Eckhart Tolle will bring you there if you're aware in the introduction of the book. He talks about his story of when he was in his apartment and he was so miserable, and he yells out, "I can't live with myself anymore." And he has this moment where he asks the question, who is the I that can't live with myself anymore? It's an interesting thing to think about, right? And he literally falls on the ground and has this massive spiritual awakening. And so when people read that book, I invite them to, like, when you're going through the introduction, if you don't go, oh shit, if you don't get something like about your own, like being able, it's what it's about. It's about witnessing the talker in there, witnessing the mind, the noisemaker. When you can witness it happen and you get to go, oh shit, there it is, that'll change your life forever. It's another step, And so there's a lot of ways for people to be helped. A lot of people through psychedelics, plant medicines in the correct setting, with the right people who know what they're doing. That's a way. It's not for everybody. Deep meditation, and then, like I said, crazy things can happen. I know people who have lost their whole family in an accident, and they were the only ones that lived, and they have a massive spiritual awakening, and they walk in the glory of life in full samadhi today. Like, they are just like this. Doesn't mean they don't have horrible situations that come. We're on planet Earth, and Buddha says life is suffering. Yes, so really, what you can do is, I'm not here to say you're not a victim. We're all victims. The dog, the cat, the human, the rock, the sun, it's all going away. It's all going to suffer some kind of transformation, which is uncomfortable, and it's going to die. Everything is going to die. Everything is going to suffer, period. And so we're all technically victims. I got that from Jordan Peterson, big hero of mine. Yeah. And I usually walk around, no such thing as a victim. No, man, he's got a point. We're all victims. It's what you do with it. It's how you shift your perception and find the gift in the thing that brought you so much misery, because that's the thing that also turned it around for you. It's a choice, man.
I little know about you is that you fell into a depression afterwards, once you start achieving so much. So could you guide us into this phase? How was that? How did you lose this awakening, and how do you regain it again?
So in my case, the course was a transformational experience. That transformation made it so that I could go out and do whatever I wanted in life, have whatever I want, become whatever I want. And I did that. And then I reached this place where I had a lot of stuff. And like you said, I was a race car driver, just addicted to the biggest barrels we could find. And of course, when we say big wave surfing, we're not talking about code red chopu. We're talking about, 20-foot waves, 20-foot faces and those kind of big waves, big, heavy, thick barrel riding, just addicted, toe-in surfing, crazy. All the girls, the most beautiful girls, my girlfriends, amazing, and all that stuff, and whatever I wanted, and house, and everything a person could possibly want, I had. This is post this course. I got it all. They do a great job of showing you that what's possible. That's the key. And I made what's possible. But when I got to this place where I was like, is this all there is? And I just needed more and more. And I kept trying to fill a void that I literally felt inside of me with stuff, whether that be girls, whether that be experiences, whether that be money, whatever it is, more. And I realized that after I would get whatever it was, the thing or the girl or the whatever, or the barrel, I needed more. and I needed more.
Mm.
So I fell into a depression that was absolutely brutal. And I'm talking brutal. And imagine, you go into a depression because it's not because you're lacking, you have too much, or you have. And I actually got in on the plane and went to the United States to take my own life. And
Mm.
yeah, crazy story. And I I'm not able to get a car at the airport because I was so out of it from my depression that I let all my driver's license expires. Like I didn't care about anything. I was just lost. So I got on a shuttle bus and went to San Clemente, and I want to say, I wanted to see my friend again, my best friend, Adam Fisher. And I ended up getting a room at a motel after I get off the bus, school shuttle bus thing, and I walked down to his house in the morning down by the beach. And I go, "Hey, Adam, what's up?" We're talking. We're at the door, and he says, "Where's your car, man? What, you got to rent a car?" And I go, "No." And I told him the story. He pulls his keys out, hands them to me, and I'm like, "Oh, no, 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 dude, I'm not gonna take your car." He says, "Take it, take it." And he has this big brand new truck, and I'll take that over there. He said, "I'll take this old Econoline van to work," and I'm like, "No, no." He forced it on me, like, right? And I felt terrible because I knew what I was going to do. I was going to go to the harbor and get this little boat. I had this whole plan. And I got in his truck and I drove away. And I've been gone a long time, right? And I don't know how to work CD players or anything. And he had a CD inside of his CD player in the truck. And there was this guy talking. And he's talking about, if you're in a relationship and at any moment you've said, "I love you" to a person, and at another moment you said, "I hate you," that relationship is flawed at its core. And I was like, wow, I've been in those before. What an interesting thing to talk about. What an interesting thing to say. I've never heard of anybody speak like that, anything like that before. I pull over and I think I went to a payphone, right? And I said, "Adam, who's this? It sounds like he's Indian, this Indian guy on your CD player." And I couldn't get it out. I didn't really want to hear it. I was like, I'm trying to push the buttons and I couldn't stop it because I didn't know how to work the CD player, honestly. And he says, "No, he's from Germany. His name's Eckhart Tolle." And I said, "Who is he?" And he told me, and I go, "What is that?" And he says, "Mike, it's amazing." I'm like, "I gotta go." And I went to Blockbuster Video at the time. This is this place where you can buy CDs. I'm not a reader,
Yeah.
I go straight to the CD. I grab the CD and I buy one of those. They're called Sony Walkmans at the time. These yellow things. Put that thing on, man. Changed my life in the introduction. And from that moment on, I will never consider anything like that again. Full gratitude for the present moment, full gratitude in my life, And so that was my second transformational / spiritual awakening, when I was able to witness a voice that was speaking that wasn't my own. And I started to realize what being present meant, like in the right now. Why it's sometimes hard for folks to hold that is because you have years of programming that is already moving you to not being present. I got this from Neil Donald Walsh in his book, Conversations with God. I listened to that on YouTube. And I realized that what he was saying that you listen to every word that you say in here and every word that you say as here as well. And you analyze it from now on. And where's it coming from? Is it coming from freedom, peace, love, harmony, or is it coming from somewhere else? And it's coming from somewhere else. Instantly, you go back and you find out where it came from and you heal that. You're a healer for you, but you're not a healer for them. You're not a healer for that other person. You might be a facilitator for healing, but the healer is right here, period. If we're in a human body, there's work to do. There's still something to look at. I'm constantly still, after all of this, and I'm really very present. I have to admit, there's a lot of presence in my life, and I'm really appreciative of that. I'm very grateful. And at the same time, I have issues with catastrophizing. I have issues with a girlfriend will come into my life and something will happen, and she'll do the same thing that the girlfriend did when I was 17 years old, when I fell in love. And that reflected something when my father left when I was 9. And I realized that they're all connected to this abandonment thing. And the freaking chip is somehow still lodged in me somatically at 57 years old, you know? And I have a amazing girlfriend right now that I love very much, and she loves me. And I still, every once in a while, go, oh, is that going to happen again? And it's like, wow, after all this time, after everything you know, full, not just forgiveness, taking responsibility for being bummed out at my first girlfriend and this and my dad for leaving, all this stuff, all that's gone. I love them all. I appreciate the gift that they gave me of the misery and all of that. But still, the somatic imprint is there somehow. And to be honest, I don't know how to remove the damn thing, and I'm still working on it, and I try every day, but the shit's still there. And it's funny, it'll be gone for years, and all of a sudden something will pop up, and I'm like, why are you still here? I wrote novels about this. Wait a minute. And hey, it's part of this journey. We're in the body. There's work to be done.
Yeah.
So
the subconscious mind is very powerful. It stores so much information, and it comes out in the moment where you don't want it.
You never want that shit. Yeah.
Do you attribute this depression that you were very focused on the material, in the achieving, instead of your inner peace and your inner self?
It's misery to always want more and believe that the happiness is out there. And that's what happened. Was I fell into a very, very dark place. It was hard. And I'm so happy it happened, because this has all led me to be able to write about these things and speak about them, and from a true, authentic way, with the experience that I can talk about, So I can tell people, listen, I know you think you're going to be happy when you get that over there. You're going to be a millionaire, or whatever it is. I promise you right now, the happiness is already within you. You are actually happiness itself. It's just covered up with a bunch of muck of programming and this idea that it somehow exists just beyond your reach, and somehow you're going to grab it. It does. You've been it the whole time.
In these difficult times right now, with everything what's going on in the world, political crisis, economical crisis, and so on, the awakening of AI, technology, and so on, what is your recipe for finding the purpose in life on a personal level? Many people are struggling. They don't know what to do. Many people are pursuing careers. They're achieving careers, but they're not happy. Everybody's trying to find something that they can feel passionate about. How can we find our purpose in life?
Well, it happened for me through my transformation. So I would say we use the term in Ho'oponopono. They use the term cleaning. So if we clean up the programming and clean up all the lies that we believe, that we're not enough, that there's not enough of stuff, there's not enough love, there's not enough. We move out of scarcity and into the abundance mindset, the truth. That's all part of transformation. It's all part of awakening. So I for me, the only way is transformation, period. There is nothing else for me. I'm not interested in small talk. I'm interested here in helping people move towards their own personal transformation. And, you can start by listening to the thing in there that's talking, and realize that that's not you. You're the one that's actually witnessing it from the back, going, wow, why did it just say that? It's you right there that just asked why. Start there, sit down and try to meditate for a second. The first time the little voice starts talking, realize that you witnessed the voice come in. If you can do that, even though it sounds so ridiculously small, it's huge, because you're witnessing. For somebody who's never done this, had this experience, you're witnessing the voice for the first time. And then when you get to understand that you are the witness of the voice and not the one that's making the noise, it can change everything in your life. Start there, and then just maybe get on this path and just clean all the lies up, that you weren't enough, that you can't. Of course you can. If you do that, boom, life will shift. It did for me. I know it can, and many other people. I've seen it happen all over the globe. And the world, as it's falling apart, is pushing us for an awakening. So everybody's going through something right now. Think about it. Everybody's going through something. in a big way. It's literally energetic throughout on the whole planet. This vibration, it's low vibration, and we're all being affected. How many people are having problems sleeping out there?
Yeah.
Just think
Yeah.
about that, right?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Me and I go in to find this stuff to help me sleep. It's sold out everywhere in every pharmacy. I'm in the United States, and I'm like, I'm gonna go get some of that calm sleep stuff. They don't have it. I'm like, what's going on? And what's going on is we're all getting hit. So what it's in if so in my second book it's called The Invitation. And so what that really means is this is an invitation for your awakening. So everything that's happening right now is here to push you to an awakening. Now you don't have to do that, but life's going to get hard if you don't.
But just imagine what kind of work we can create if we are awakened, and then we can start spreading this to other people and sharing this.
That's
just
it, brother.
sharing some kindness, some gratitude.
And you know what's funny is that a lot of people would argue that are spiritual teachers that it is right now. And I would agree. It just depends on your perception. And so as I clean my perception more and more, I see the beauty. I see the beauty in the pain of the suffering of that person. There's something in that that is supposed to be that way. So therefore I can find the beauty. It still makes me cry, I feel bad for, but I also am okay. It's okay. It's their journey. So we've got to get to that place where we find, we call it home, HOME, heaven on Mother Earth. We're all getting back to home, and it's here right now. It's just really hard to see it because of our programming, because of all the stuff that we've gone through and the things that we say to ourselves. We're responsible for all of it. That's the message. It's all in you. You can do this. You can fix it, and change everything.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's what you came here
Mike,
for.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this conversation. Where can the people find you? Where can they find your books, information about you?
The book 2 of the Essential Revolution, The Invitation, will be available. It's coming on Audible at the same time. The first book, it's available in español también.
Muy bien, muy bien.
Sí, para nuestros hermanos. Sí,
Los hermanos que hablan
hermanos,
español. Muy bien.
Claro. And yeah, it's out there on Amazon and michaelmcginnis.com. You can learn more about me, and going to keep doing what we're doing. And thank you, man. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you, man. Really, I really appreciate this conversation. It's really amazing to get to know your story and see this transformation, because I think a lot of people are wishing to find a way to get out of this, what you call the programming, is that all these voices and all these empowering beliefs that we are carrying from our childhood, and try to create a better life when we get rid of this.
Igualmente, thank you very much. Y como decimos en Costa Rica, pura vida, man.
Pura vida. Pura vida, man.
Thank you.
We're in contact.
All right, ciao.